Well, here we are, just a few hours after Alex's tough defeat against Linda Noskova overnight. For you, it would have been this morning. We all sat through that, willing Alex to play her best tennis, play her best level, and see if she could reach the quarterfinal. And as we know now, Linda Noskova produced an unbelievable performance to win the match fair and square, and she won it. And I just wanted to do a little bit of a quick post-match analysis and then talk about where Alex is going next and in terms of what she needs to do to take on players ranked above her and possibly how she can improve over the coming years to really, when she plays people in the top 20, have a really serious chance of winning these matches.
And remain at Pinera.
At Pinera. So they played 82 points. There were 82 points played last night in the two sets that Linda Noskova won. And of those 82 points, Linda Noskova won 56 of the points. Alex won 26 of the points. So a big difference there, as the overall score of 6-2, 6-love suggests. Linda Noskova would have won those points. But important to look at how she won those points. And this tells you how well she played compared with her week in, week out level over the last 52 weeks of the year. Percentage of winners over the last year, she has been hitting 18% of her
Is
points.
that 1-8?
1-8, yes. 1-8. 18% of the points she plays, she's been hitting winners over the last 52 weeks of the year. Last night, she won 25 points out of the 56 she won were winners.
Winners means, just can we clarify what winners means?
Yeah, clean winners means that Alex didn't get her racket to the ball. It wasn't a forced error where Alex got a racket to the ball and it went into the net or whatever.
Right.
It's past Alex completely.
Okay.
And those 25 winners as a percentage of the 82 points played is 30%. So her average level, she's hitting 18% of points played, she's hitting winners. Last night, Linda Noskova, that percentage went up to 30%.
So Noskova was normally 18, suddenly 30, which we said when we did the live, didn't we? We said she is on fire.
She played an unbelievable match. So this really is something that in professional sport does occasionally happen, and you just have to say, well played.
Yeah.
So putting it into context, that stat alone shows you how well she played.
Good for women's tennis.
Then we look at her ratio of unforced errors. Across the last year, she was hitting 23% of her points played. She would make an unforced error. Last night, she only made 11 across the 82 points played. That's a percentage that is down at 13%. So her winners was 30%, her unforced errors down at 13%. That ratio is plus 17% in favour of winners.
And that's Noskova.
That's Noskova, and normally her ratio was comparable with Alex, which was minus 5%. The unforced errors was 5% more than the winners over the last year.
Yeah. For Alex?
For both of them.
Right. Similar. Usually they're similar. Last night, one got a lot better.
Linda Noskova played unbelievably. She hit 17% more winners than unforced errors.
Do you know those stats for Alex's game then?
So Alex just didn't get a chance to play that much tennis. Of the 26 points she won, she hit 5 winners.
Right.
From those 20.
Isn't bad.
Which isn't bad, but she hit 11 unforced errors. So the ratio there isn't out of sync with what she and Linda Noskova normally do, which is they hit slightly more unforced errors than winners.
Right.
But really not enough points to really claim anything because she only won 2 games. In addition to the 25 winners, Linda Noskova, in addition, hit 7 aces. And they're in addition, they're not counted as part of the winners, even though they won the point. They're a separate category. So 32 points in total were clean winners with those 7 aces in addition.
She was on fire.
Is unbelievable. Then we look at the serve in more detail. On first serve, she'd been winning about 70% of the points. She'd been serving well in the first 2 matches. Last night, Noskova increased that to 77%. And like most commentators, analysts were saying, first serves are going to be tough to receive. Even though Alex was a great returner, when the second serve comes along, she had to take advantage. And she tried to, but Noskova won 81%, which is unheard of. So her first serve percentage of points won was very impressive in the high 70s, but her second serve winning percentage was over 80%. So her serve was exceptional.
And so very, very difficult to defend that from Alex's point of view.
Yeah, very difficult to pick holes in Linda Noskova's game at all throughout the match. There was one service game at the end of the first set where Alex managed to get it to juice and then to her advantage and had one solitary break point. But she played 2 sets with only having to defend 1 break point, which is remarkable. And I think I can't stress strongly enough how well Linda Noskova played. And I don't think many players, if any, would have lived with that tennis.
Would have
Competed to go on to beat Noskova.
So Alex was not unusual in that she found it impossible to be victorious over that.
Not many players would have coped with that standard.
Yes.
In terms of Alex Eala's level, it wasn't, though. It was not as good as the set and a bit she played against Coco Gauff and the match she played against Yastremska, of which she obviously came out on top of both those.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of Alex Eala's serve, she was winning 59% of her first serves in the first 2 matches she played.
Right.
Last night, she was down at 36%. Before the match, I said she had to serve well. She had to hold her serve. She served poorly based on this event. The standard of her serve in the first 2 matches was far better than last night.
So you needed her service game to get a little better, because she was really very good pretty good in the first and second. You needed it to get a little better. And sadly, even with the valiant effort that she put in, it actually got a little worse.
Yeah, the more she tried, it was clear the further away her game felt in terms of her serve.
The first time I've ever seen frustration in her face.
The positive of her serve was that she won more points on her second serve. Even last night in defeat, she won 47%, but that was lower than the stats she had against Yastremska and Gauff. So 23% down on her first serve in her match last night, and her second serve percentage was just 1 or 2% down on those 2 matches. So when we look at a player, you can't expect to play like Linda Noskova did last night. You're not going to play your blistering best every time.
No.
So what you're trying to do is bring up your standard to a very good level and be consistent with that, a solid level. And that as a benchmark last night, Linda Noskova played well above her average level based on the last year.
Yes.
And Alex, unfortunately, was below her average. And that
the gap
between their best levels was like that last night. And unfortunately, that resulted in a very one-sided scoreline. But there is no problem in professional sport learning from a defeat like that, because it wasn't a case of Alex played really badly and is thinking, I lost that match. Yes, she could have served a lot better, but tennis isn't just the serve. The opponent's serve was unbelievable last night, and the opponent's ratio of winners to unforced errors was exceptional. And it was better, as I said last night on the watch along, it was better than the standard that Sabalenka and Rybakina produced in the Australian Open final.
If anyone wants to have a look at the watch along, just to see the commentary, which has got a lot of statistics and analysis in it, I'll put they do this, don't they? I'll put it in the links below. I'll try.
So we're not going to dissect Alex Eala's serve on this video, but it's going to be the big takeaway that we're going to look at in detail before Miami. So in the next few days, I'm going to focus on Alex's serve and talk to you about what she can do, not in a week, not over a month, but over the next few years to move that serve into a position where, a bit like Irina Sabalenka went through changes in her early 20s, to take her serve from being a bit of a challenge, a bit of a struggle, lots of double faults. She made it into one of the best serves in the game by the time she reached her mid-20s. Hence why she started to compete in Grand Slam semi-finals and finals and ultimately win the Australian Open, her first Grand Slam, a couple of seasons ago. So there's still plenty of time on Alex's side. She's certainly got 3 or 4 years before she's in that peak phase of her career. And we're going to look at what she can do over the next 3 years to take that serve to a position where she wins 3 points. And that is so important. Your serve is the only shot in tennis that can earn you 3 points, because no one else influences that moment in the game.
Just to be clear, that is free, not 3. It would be great if your serve won 3 points, but it doesn't.
So you're either making it very difficult for your opponent who gets their racket onto the serve, but it goes into the net or goes out because they can't control. And there are ways for Alex to achieve that, and that's what we'll be focusing on. And Linda Noskova last night had so many free points. She forced the return error off Alex's racket, or she hit an ace, or she set up the serve +1 shot where Alex was able to get the return back in court, but Linda Noskova followed it up with her court position, advanced in the court, and the serve +1 shot was either another winner or a dominant shot, which ultimately paved the way to her winning the point. So the serve is essential for Alex to relieve pressure and keep the scoreboard ticking over from her side. And this is something that Alex will need to do to take advantage of her strengths. So we will look at that shot in particular in detail before Miami.
Are you going to do another video about that?
We're going to do another video
Okay.
about it. So what's next for Alex? Well, the good news is she's got 9 or 10 days rest. Yes, she's got to travel across to Miami, but even allowing for travel, she won't be playing until the following weekend, not this weekend, the following weekend. So Miami starts, the qualifiers start next Tuesday, which is nearly a week away, on March the 17th. Alex can look forward to, as can all of us, look forward to the draw the second day. So either by the end of the second day, on the end of the 18th of March, or certainly by the time you wake up on the 19th of March, we'll know where Alex has been put in that draw. She will be in the same seeded position inside the top 32 for Miami, and that position will be protected. So she will have a bye, which means she won't be playing in the first round, which means her match will be either the Saturday or Sunday around the 22nd of March.
I just got a couple of things to say that, from a sort of real life point of view, that you, Dan, were saying before Indian Wells started. I think we said it on camera. We certainly said it to each other, or you said it to me. Indian Wells is not a tournament that she's played before. So this is completely new for her. She's young. It's completely new. She's not been there. She doesn't know the surface. She doesn't know that altitude, that specific altitude at Indian Wells. However much tennis paradise it is, it's different. Whereas in Miami, yes, you're saying she'll be rested, which is great. But also, she was there last year and she did really well last year, which has an impact on your psychology. She's going to go there with a real positive mindset. And in terms of your WTA points, I don't know if you're going to cover this later, but WTA points, she's got in her kit bag 120 extra WTA points, which she got from Indian Wells, which the previous year she didn't play. So that's a real advantage to her. Those are some advantages to her as she walks onto court at Miami.
Yes, the rankings are always fluctuating up and down all the time. And as Katie says, I'm going to finish today by highlighting that when she starts in Miami, the rankings will have been updated and will take off the points earned from last year at Miami. So although the 120 points is good in terms of the whole season, next week 390 points will come off Alex's ranking until Miami is completed. And it will be a question of whether she can reach the semi-finals again and defend all those points, go even further, or whether she falls short of the semi-finals will determine where her ranking gets readjusted to. At the start of Miami, her ranking will drop 14 places. But this is a fluid position. So just like last week, she went from 32 to 28 in the world because of how the matches played out in Indian Wells. That will also happen in Miami, and they'll fluctuate all the time.
Because your WTA points that you have, your ranking points, are only valid for 52 weeks. So the 53rd week, which effectively Miami becomes once Miami's come round again, because she did very well there, those fall off. So it's and the word they use in the tennis world is she's defending those points. Where Indian Wells, she wasn't defending those points. These were fresh. She hadn't played Indian Wells, where she's defending her points at Miami.
Yeah, so it's an important couple of months in terms of Alex's ranking, but over the season, I'm absolutely confident that Alex is going to win a lot more matches, which means her ranking will settle back inside the top 30 or thereabouts. But during Miami, you will, if you look at the rankings, you will see her ranking getting adjusted in that week until Miami's finished, back down in the early 40s.
But don't be downhearted by that. You must still be naka proud of her. Don't feel that is her getting worse. It isn't her getting worse. It's just a part of the mechanics of the game, the ebb and flow of the WTA points throughout the year.
So that's it for Indian Wells from Alex Eala's point of view. I think a very positive tournament.
Very positive.
Lots of good things to take away and work on. And the serve in particular, we'll be looking at that in detail, as we said. But it's been a real pleasure to watch her up close and go through those wins with you in Indian Wells.
It really has. And we both want to say thank you so much for the support that you've given to her, obviously, which is easy because of her just a wonderful warmth, her kindness, her humbleness, her just the wonderful person that she is, as well as the great sports person. But you guys, I mean, we have been overwhelmed by the kindness that you've shown to us as well. And we both wanted to say thank you so much. It's been an absolute joy going through Indian Wells with you, and we will definitely be here between now and Miami, but we'll also go through Miami with you, and it'll be very exciting.
And we look forward to Miami. So, see you soon.
See you soon.